My role is working for FindYourSpace in the UK. So I'm an electrical ground support equipment engineering manager. So the electrical ground support equipment team look after all of the equipment that helps the satellite whilst it's on the ground before launch. So we're really heavily involved in the assembly, integration and test phase, the testing part of that being key because it's the electrical equipment that supports the satellite through manufacture and test. So we really keep the spacecraft alive whilst it's on the ground. So as a child, I would say that I was always interested in how things worked. At the time, I didn't really realise what engineering was, although actually being interested in how things work and how things go together is the start of a lot of engineering careers for a lot of people. So sometimes you're doing engineering in your brain without even realising that you're doing engineering. My favourite subjects at school were a bit strange for somebody who's got a career in the space industry. I wouldn't say that I was particularly into the normal STEM subjects. I kind of liked everything at school, particularly geography, which is a bit rogue, but I suppose comes back to some of the Earth observation stuff that the space industry looks at now. I enjoyed maths, but I wouldn't ever say that I felt particularly comfortable with it or was particularly good at it. At A-level, I decided to do maths, English, psychology and biology. So a real range of subjects because I really had no idea what I wanted to do. I didn't actually continue with those A-levels the whole way through. I started off doing AS levels, realised that I was doing quite a variety of subjects with no real end goal in mind. And I wasn't very happy doing it. It was highly academic. I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a particularly academic person. I kind of just wanted to get out into the workplace and actually start working, but I didn't know where to start. My dad was an engineer. He worked for a defence company called MBDA, who are also located in Stevenage. I was very, very adamant that I didn't want to work where my dad worked. I think that was the rebellious teenager within me, did not want to follow in his footsteps. So my mum actually found an apprenticeship option in the newspaper, and I applied for it with no real expectations at all. I didn't for 1 minute think that I would get it because, as I mentioned, STEM's not really in my background. But I found the more that I was going through the process of application, the more I thought, actually, that I really, really want this. This is really for me. But what I would say is that in my interviews for that apprenticeship, a lot of the time, I didn't have the answers to some of the questions they were asking. But what I did do was say, I don't know, but I want to learn. So I started off with doing an apprenticeship with a company called Astrium at the time, who are now Airbus Defence and Space. I think the benefits of an apprenticeship for me were that I was exposed to lots and lots of different things in the workplace. So the first year was full-time academic, and that was quite heavily based on the STEM subjects, and I did struggle at times with that, and I was concerned that I wasn't necessarily going to be the right job for me. But as I got into my second and third years, I went into the business and did a placement rotation. So I was doing all sorts of different types of engineering and even some scheduling and project control stuff that wouldn't necessarily be what you would think of as somebody working as an aerospace engineer. So that really gave me the opportunity to try out things, like a bit of a try before you buy. So I didn't have to put all my eggs in one basket and go and do a degree in something where I wasn't entirely sure exactly what I wanted to do. And being in the workplace was great for me because it really allowed me to develop, not just as an engineer, but also as a person. In comparison to my friends that went to uni, there were definite differences. And there were times when I had a bit of envy, I suppose, because they were still doing the student thing and I was working full time. But what I did notice is that when I was, for example, 23 and I'd finished my apprenticeship, people were really, really shocked at how many years experience I already had versus some of my friends who were trying to get their first job at that point. And it's so competitive trying to get roles out of university because everybody's coming out at the same time. So I already felt quite established in my career at that point. So that was really beneficial for me. And obviously I was earning a salary when they weren't earning a salary either. So that also made a big difference. As part of my apprenticeship, one of the placements that I went on rotation to was the electrical test and electrical ground support equipment team. It was actually one of the later placements that I went to, but I just loved it. I loved being in there, and it worked really, really well for both of us. So I basically asked not to leave at that point. I wanted to do my next placement with them as well. And it wasn't a given that I would get any job at the end of the apprenticeship. I had to apply for the role, but they were happy to take me. And it all went from there, really. So I finished my apprenticeship, and 2015 was the launch campaign of the LISA Pathfinder satellite. So I followed that through to the launch campaign, then went back and started working on a different project on the European Space Agency Solar Orbiter mission until 2017. And then I took a bit of a career break and went and did a sabbatical, actually, and did some traveling. That was really important for me and for my development as well. And there were many skills that I learned there that I picked up probably unknowingly and took back into the workplace, because it really kind of opened my cultural horizons. To explain my typical workday is quite a difficult thing to do because we have so much variation in our job role. So a typical workday, unfortunately for me, it's a lot of emails. I do get a lot of emails, but it really depends on what the focus is at that particular point. So it might be that we're working on a bid for a new project, and bid work's really exciting because we have to be quite innovative in the way that we answer it, and we're always looking to reduce cost but keep or increase the same level of quality. But then also I have to help running projects. So some of my team will be working on European Space Agency missions. There might be a non-conformance and I might have to attend an NCR review. Equally, I might be doing annual appraisals or giving people feedback. So there's really a lot of variety in what I do every day. If you're interested in doing something like I do, I'd recommend going to as many events as you possibly can that are related to space. There are lots and lots of roles in the space sector, and I don't think you're going to get exposed to that unless you go to more of the events like the UK SEDS events. I'd also really recommend trying to get some work experience. We do remember the names of students who keep showing up at these things. It's surprising how many conferences we go to and we see the same students there over and over again because they're really committed to wanting to get into the space industry. At the moment, it's a really exciting time in the space sector. So we're seeing spacecraft that used to take 3 years to be built. We're looking now at CubeSats that can be done in 6 months or less. And with that comes greater innovation. We're building things that are going to go into space, and it's quite easy to forget that. So I think that's a lesson for everyone that works in the space industry as well, to remind themselves that they need to take a step back sometimes and remember that what we're doing is super cool stuff.